Get started. We have a very exciting program. My name is Anne Marie Burton. I'm the Vice President of Programs at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and we're so excited to have this Power Networking lunch with all of you. I am going to walk you through our planned agenda and then ask that you take out a pen and paper if you haven't done so already. I know you're eating, so this is going to be tricky, because you'll need to write down some numbers. All right, so the format of today's presentations is as follows. At every table is an advisor. May all the advisors please raise their hands? All right, 17 fabulous advisors. Each of our advisors is going to introduce themselves, tell you about their company, and what they'll be discussing at the table. I would like you to make a note of the table. Write table 1, table 2, or table 3. Take a look at the tent cards very carefully before we begin and identify 3 tables, because you'll only be able to go to 3 tables today. So I'm going to give you a minute. Look around. Look if there's a topic you are really keen on, hearing about or learning about. This is the time to identify that table. Our advisors will not be moving from their table. The emerging leaders at each table will move and rotate to their number 2 table when I say move. We have to move very quickly, get seated, and move to the next discussion. There'll be 3 rotations. I'm hoping that the transition will be very smooth, so we only take a minute between transitions, and then we'll get started. So think through your questions. You only have 3 tables you can go to. If we end up having one table being crowded or overcrowded because everyone wants to be there, then I'll kindly ask that you find another table. We're not going to pull extra chairs into that table, so don't add any chairs. First come, first serve. Any questions? Okay. Yes, ma'am. We're just about to do that. Yes, that is the introductions. Thank you. Any other questions before we get started? So all our fabulous emerging leaders, you have 3 tables you can rotate to. Every discussion will be 25 minutes. After we are done with the 3 rotations, so this is, how many of you have been to like a speed dating networking session? Okay, this is it. High power speed dating, right? So we are going to see how effectively we can manage that and get the most out of it. Again, please don't pull extra chairs into a table. I've seen this happen whenever it's like, we all want to be at this table. We want to love all our 17 amazing advisors who are here today, because they all have nuggets of wisdom to share with us. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our first speaker today and one of our sponsors. Without our sponsors, we would not be able to have this, so please give them some love when they come on stage. Kevin Avery, did I pronounce that correct? Is the Managing Director of Federal Government Affairs at ConocoPhillips. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. I appreciate it. And welcome, everyone. Anne-Marie, you heard her tell you the routine, so I'm going to be very brief and just say that we're very proud to sponsor this luncheon, and we're extremely proud of our ongoing sponsorship of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Annual Legislative Conference. Thank you very much for attending today. This is a wonderful event and a terrific opportunity to match young career professionals with some of our folks who've been around a little longer and can give you some advice. It's the start of finding a mentor, which is always very important, particularly in a business environment. And some of the skills that you'll learn from the folks here today, they'll help you in just about any field, any endeavor that you want to go into. I'm going to give a shout out to my 4 folks who are here from ConocoPhillips. We have 2 tables. Cassandra Corley and Roxy Williams. and Joseph Thomas, and Aaron Wilson back there. So thank you very much, guys. They can share their career experiences, what have contributed to their success, ask good questions, ask the same question from table to table. You'll get the same answers. It's probably also something you should do if you do any informational interviewing. Have 3 questions that you always ask, and you'll get the same piece of advice, different pieces of advice for everyone, and just learn from that. And with that, enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, so we are about to get started. About 20 people walked in right before we got started. So everyone who just walked in, welcome. There's room at the front of the room, so please come forward. Don't sit in the back. No overcrowding at tables. I'm going to go through this very quickly. If you just walked in, we're about to do introductions. I'm going to ask that you listen to what each presenter will be talking about. Identify 3 tables or 3 advisors that you wish to engage with, and we'll get started. So without much ado, let me start with this table. Mike, are we ready? Introductions?
On? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, my name is Martin Smith, and I'm the president of Wealth Care Financial Group. Originally from California, been in DC for 30 years, and launched our firm back in, 2003. Very excited to offer advice and mentoring and counseling and just help people understand what it means to work in the wealth management or investment advisory field. I didn't start out this way. I started out pursuing a career in law, and decided midstream when I was in law school that I had a passion for educating people about money management. And so my mentors when I was at Howard University took me to Wall Street, to New York Stock Exchange, HU. That's right. Oh, half the room was HU. And Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner and late mentor Tom Skinner took me to the New York Stock Exchange and just blew my mind. And from there, I was never settled. And so I just wanted to, represent in this industry, represent for us. And so I've been blessed to offer internships and jobs and opportunities for people who didn't have the so-called pedigree to get in this field. And today, many of them are business owners in the wealth management industry themselves. Some didn't go to college and are in the business. So if you have any questions, this is a table to come to. I'm happy to answer your questions and give you all the advice you need. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless.
Thank you. Next table, right behind you. Next table. There we go.
Good afternoon. I'm Myra Briggs, and I'm the Executive Search Practice Leader at Nonprofit HR. And what I'm here to talk about today is the roadmap to the C-suite. Okay?
Did you all hear that?
The roadmap to the C-suite. So anyone that has any interest in executive leadership, now's the time for you to begin planning, because it requires an intentional career path in order for you to actually make it to one of those roles that has the big C in the front of it. So I hope to share some insights with you all and answer any questions that you might have that during the time that we're together.
Thank you. We're moving on down. Moving on down. Do we have 2 mics? Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Fallon Wilson, and I am the director of Black Tech Mecca. And pretty much I'll be talking about what does it mean to be a Black woman in tech innovation and tech startups. So any questions around how do you get there? What does it mean to be there? Data sciences, STEM, artificial intelligence, meet me at my table. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I've been on the road for 7.5 hours, so y'all ain't about to act sleepy in here. We're going to turn up, okay? So, Emory, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Frank Whitfield. I'm running for mayor in my hometown of Elyria, Ohio. And prior to running for mayor, I was I've been in nonprofit for 17 years. So we're going to be talking about social change, careers in nonprofit here. I've worked at family foundations, worked in communities, started my own nonprofit, and most recently I was the youngest CEO of any National Urban League affiliate in the country. So I just want to share my expertise in that space. I also come from, kind of hood, so can talk about how you go from the street to the suite, and we're going to talk about that here at the table as well. So I look forward to chatting with you all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Alicia Butterfield Jones. I am here representing Google. I am the Global Head of Community Inclusion for the company. I've been there now for 4 years. We are going to talk about today decoding leadership. So what it means to work for a Fortune 100 company and rise through the ranks as black folks, especially black women. And this is Shariza.
So we're going to talk about the same thing, obviously. Come to the Google table. I'm Shariza Lundy. I'm the Chief of Staff to Google's Chief Diversity Officer and the VP of Employee Engagement.
Good afternoon. My name is Hester Wheeler. I serve as Assistant Secretary of State for Michigan. I'm also former executive director with NAACP in Detroit. I believe the very best way to predict the future is to create it. I might wear a shirt and tie, but my heart is red, black, and green. I don't think we should ever apologize for being committed to self-determination. And my question to you is, are you committed to success or significance? I know what you can do with your life, and I too have gone from the streets to the suites.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Thomas, and I represent ConocoPhillips, as Kevin talked about before. I have Erin Wilson. I'll let her introduce herself. And we're here to talk about the energy industry. So if you have questions about accounting and finance and just some of the things that go on from a minority standpoint in that industry. So look forward to talking to you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Erin Wilson. I am a senior contracting analyst as well for ConocoPhillips. So we work in the oil and gas industry. I am an engineer by degree, however, so I would also love to talk to you about being a black woman in STEM. So please head over to our table. We are excited to have you all. So any finance questions, supply chain questions, STEM questions, being a black employee in an energy field, we're here to talk.
If you're walking in, please come to the front. We have seats on the front table.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Crystal Riley here on behalf of Baxter Healthcare. I am their Deputy Director of Government Policy and Reimbursement, but I come from a very non-traditional background. I was formerly trained as a clinical and research pharmacist and transferred those skills over time into the wonderful world of policy and legislation. So I'm here to talk a little bit about pharma, being a black girl in STEM, and career transitions, embracing non-traditional paths and your quirks to carve out a place for you.
Is it morning or afternoon? My name is Roxy Williams, and I'm also with ConocoPhillips. I am the LNG TNL, which stands for liquefied natural gas, and I'm in technology and licensing, and I'm the commercial coordinator. I handle all of the conferences internationally and domestic. So if you have any questions about, again, being a black girl in corporate America and the climb and the struggle, please come to visit our table. Now I'm going to introduce Ms. Corley.
Hello, my name is Cassandra Corley, and I'm the IT Director for Internal Audit for ConocoPhillips. I've been there for 28 years. And at our table, we also want to talk about how to help you progress your career, some of the things you need to do in those first 3 years or so around performance, visibility, exposure, mentoring, sponsorship, and just opportunities within the company that will help you progress your career as you move forward.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Celeste Hippolyte. I'm the University Diversity Program Manager at Lyft. So what we're going to talk about at our table, we're going to talk about career changes. So both myself and my colleague here has done career changes. Prior to tech, I was in PR and communications, and then transferred over to tech and worked at Google for a few years, and now over here at Lyft. I am also going to be talking about corporate recruiting, specifically university recruiting as it pertains to diversity and inclusion. I manage all of our HBCU recruiting. And
good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elyse Richards, and I am the Community Affairs Organizer for the Public Policy Department at Lyft. Like Celeste mentioned, we'll be talking about career changes, transitioning. I was previously a fashion merchandising I studied fashion merchandising at the Mecca, Howard University, shout out to Bison. And I was previously at Old Navy's corporate office and transitioned into tech, and it's been the best decision ever. So feel free to come over to our table and talk to us about career transitioning, policy, government relations, and diversity and inclusion.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tamara Crisler, and I'm the Managing Director of Policy at the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. And I'm just so honored to be here with all of my colleagues who are so esteemed. It's going to be a really good afternoon. I am going to talk about networking, what it is and what it isn't, because that's just as important, and building relationships, because each and every one of the advisors here and all the wonderful things that they're going to be sharing today all starts with relationships. That's where everything breaks down to. I have worked in every branch of government. I was a criminal prosecutor in Chicago. I was a labor and employment attorney in the Department of Justice, and I was the executive director of a congressional agency, an independent agency that acted as the EEOC, Federal Labor Relations Authority, OSHA, for Congress. And now I work for the nation's oldest and largest coalition on civil rights. We work with over 200 national organizations. I've worked with a lot of people. I've learned a lot of lessons, and I'm really honored to share them with you today.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ndidi Ahmadi. I am the program coordinator for internships and fellowships at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I work under the lovely Miss Anne-Marie Burton. So can we give a round of applause for her? I would love to share more about what the Leadership Institute does at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. So please come see us at our table. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Alicia Glover. I have a PhD in public policy, and I am the Senior Project and Public Policy Manager for City of Atlanta Watershed. I'm going to be talking about all things politics and policy. I have a nonprofit that lobbies to end the feminine hygiene sales tax across the country. I also have a consulting business for A to Z campaign strategy and policy management. So I'll be talking about those things, as well as the difference between a mentor and a sponsor, because they're very different and you need both of them. So I'll be talking about that, as well as what it's like to be young, African American, and a woman in industries where you are usually the only person that looks like you in the room. So we'll be navigating that conversation and what you should do in those moments and in those roles.
Hi, my name is Miko Branch, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Miss Jessie's, the natural hair care brand that I built together with my late great sister Titi Branch. We built our business from scratch. We had no loans, we had no angel investors, but what we did have was partnership, and we had our God-given talent. Together, we created a force, and we became industry leaders, trailblazers, pioneers in the beauty business. At our table, we're going to talk about building a business from scratch and how ownership is key, and on becoming a pioneer and a leader in the beauty business, and we're also going to talk about Black beauty and how it's a billion-dollar industry. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Deena Lofton. I hail from the great city of Los Angeles, California, for anybody from the West Coast. Yep, represent West Coast. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. And I am the National Director for the Youth and College Division at the NAACP, NAACP. At our table, we're going to be talking about membership-based organizing. It's a dying art, relational organizing, and what it means to move young people across the country in civil rights.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Am I speaking right? Okay. My name is Bumi Akenesotu. I am the Deputy Director of the Rangel Fellowship at the Howard University. HU. So how many of you here have traveled abroad, worked abroad, studied abroad? Okay. Who here has had positive interactions with the U.S. Embassy abroad? So that means you got in trouble for some reason, maybe no, or I don't know. Either way, my job is to help the State Department diversify the diplomatic corps. In other words, when you go out to the embassies and you need something, you want to adopt a child, you get in trouble, whatever, hopefully the other person who's supporting you is a person of color. You want that person to be an American person of color. So the State Department has recognized that this is an issue. Howard University is the only diversifying mechanism of the State Department. The only one. So at this table, I'm going to talk about 3 things. First, if you are an undergrad right now and you're looking for ways to internationalize your academic career, study abroad, the fellowships that we all leave on the table, Fulbright, JET, all of these programs that we don't show up for, I'm here, I have information. If you're a senior, I have information for you on programs you can do after you graduate to internationalize your career. If you're a college graduate, ditto that. If you are interested in trade, economics, national security, DOD, Department of Defense, public health, public policy, public diplomacy, whatever it is, if you are a college graduate and you just want to know, like, what are my options out there to internationalize my career, I have information for you here. This week, the National Security Advisor resigned, and I don't know how many people even know what the National Security Advisor does, but that is an important role, and my goal is to one day have a National Security Advisor who will not resign and who will look like all of y'all.
All right. So how many tables did not have an advisor? I noticed 1 or 2 tables where there were no introductions. If you are at that table, plan to move. So we are going to test how quickly we can all move by watching how fast they move to a table. All right, let's go. All right, some of you already sat at tables where you really wanted to sit at to begin with, so if you are there, you've arrived. We have an empty table here. All right, we can do this in a minute. This works. All right. Advisors. Where are my advisors? Let me see your hands. Take out your timer. Put it in front of you. Our 25 minutes begin now.
Oh. Excuse me 1 second. I hate to interrupt the great conversation that's going on, and I'm going to make it really quick, which is why I'm not walking up to the stage. My name is Cedric Richmond. I'm chair of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, which puts this on. And I just want to thank you all for coming, encourage you to come back. But in the meantime, between coming this year and coming back next year, really push you to get involved in your community and do great things. And I'll just remind you, I always use Dr. King as an example because he was a Morehouse man. But more importantly, there are a couple aspects of his life that I think we could learn from. First of all, he died fighting for sanitation workers, which means he didn't think anybody was too low to fight for or to help. Second, he wrote his first op-ed and got politically engaged when he was 17, still a student at Morehouse College. He wrote an Atlanta Journal-Constitution saying that blacks should have the same rights as whites. And then the last part about him is, remember, he died at a very young age. So just know that nobody's promised to be here a very long time. So all of that foolishness about wait your turn, you will be a future leader. You all are leaders right now. And which means you have to act accordingly as leaders. Now, I'm not going to get in your social media habits and all that foolishness, but there are a bunch of people who watch you all. I don't care whether it's the younger people in your neighborhood who see you and want to be you. And I would just remind you to think back when you were a kid, like when I was a kid, there were kids in the neighborhood I saw and I just wanted to be like them. So you all are role models, you all are activists, you all are change agents. And the last thing I will say is figure out what it is you want to do and just do it. Nobody else has to tell you what to do because everybody has to play their role. So it's football season, the Saints are winning, so I'll use a football analogy. There we go. The quarterback can't be the blocker, and he can't catch the passes. Somebody's going to have to catch the pass, somebody's going to have to throw the ball, somebody's going to have to kick the ball. Figure out which route you want to do, which role you want to play, and just do it so well that you impact your community. So thank you all for being here. We look forward to having you again next year. But in the meantime, between time, do something that affects your community. So thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, round 3, the final round, has been completed. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you had a wonderful 3 sessions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So, if I could please have your attention. I know it's really hard to wrap these things up. Thank you. So can we please give a round of applause to our advisors? So I noticed we lost a few people earlier on as the sessions went by. May I please have all the advisors stand up? So we are going to try this. Let me see if we can project. Let's see. The other session is out because they were making a lot of noise earlier. So let's see if we can project. That way we don't have to run around with the mics. And I'm going to start with this table. We'll walk our way downwards, the same way we did during our introduction. And I would love them to share 2 nuggets that we can all take away based on their conversations today. Advisors, your nuggets will be based on some of the conversations you had, some of the questions the young people were asking, but you have literally like 30 seconds to give us that powerful, powerful nugget to walk away with. So let's go.
For our table, it was 2 things primarily. It was managing credit, ever so important, and understanding how to break it to, we have a lot of questions about that, so spend a lot of time discussing credit management and then how to break into the industry and succeed as a wealth manager or an investment advisor.
Thank you.
Hello. We spent a lot of time talking about being intentional about your career path and being very self-centered as you are making decisions about your career path and your career growth. Not making decisions about professional development that can only be used in your current organization, not making decisions about your career path that are more focused on the mission of the organization versus who you are and developing yourself as the best possible professional to perform these functions. It's about self-care professionally more than anything else.
Thank you. Next.
Hi. So a couple themes came out of ours. One was the power of partnerships, and I think somebody talked about relationships earlier, but the power of having good partnerships and relationships. The other was around service. So a lot of people were asking me, are you running for office? How are you going to win? And I shared that my experience, I've served and helped so many people in the community that I just feel like if everybody I helped voted for me, I'll win. And so how And the other thing about service is that I really feel like you live forever. You live on because you put your life into someone else. And not just serving on boards and committees and things like that. I'm talking putting your life and pouring your life into someone else. So that was one of the key things. And you can follow me on CEO Whitfield on Instagram.
Nice job. Thank you.
Hello, Alicia again from Google. Two nuggets. One is networking is more about quality over quantity. And so who cares if you know 10,000 people if when it really counts you have no one to call. So quality over quantity. The second I would say is how to break into tech as a non-technical person. And so there are lots of soft skills, transferable skills, whether you work in federal government, before tech like I did, or other industries, entertainment, where you can still pivot to a successful career in entertainment. And then last thing I'll say is big fear of missing out on Miss Miko Branch's session. I wish she could have a fireside chat next year.
So,
rapid fire.
yes, we had a great discussion here. We put extra emphasis on learning the truth about ourselves, celebrating the progress that we've made. Don't dwell in the negatives. Very often people don't know the truth about themselves, particularly if you're black in America, you're automatically bilingual, you're automatically bicultural. That means you can talk black and you can talk white. You know how to live the black experience, and very often you have to live the white experience. So celebrate that. So don't apologize for being committed to self-determination. Success or significant. It is not enough to learn how to get a good job. If you never help anybody else, you'll never understand what significance means.
Thank you. All right.
Hello.
Nuggets.
So ours was focusing on your confidence and your performance as a black person in corporate America, and not minimizing your blackness, but instead exuding that confidence when you walk into the room. So owning the room as soon as you walk in,
Yes.
making sure they know your name, sitting at the table, networking with others that may not look like you, and then pulling others that do look like you into that industry as well. Also, we talked about your performance. So if you're confident, you can't be confident and then not perform, right? So make sure that while you're confident, you're also performing well. So if you're not in the room, others can speak on your performance and how well you're doing for the company. Thank you.
So a couple of tidbits that came out of the conversations at this table. One, it's okay to not have all of the answers in your career right now.
Yes.
Life is fluid, so is your career path likely going to be as well, and it's important to stay open to opportunities as they come. The second tidbit that we got is that it's very important for you to package yourself, to leverage all of your experiences and knowledge and wrap it up in a bundle that you can justify that you will provide a good return to whomever decides to invest in you. So those are our
Thank you.
nuggets.
Excellent.
So we talked a little about networking and a little about policy. For networking, we talked about bringing your authentic self and taking a sincere interest in others. And policy, we talked about civic engagement. That's really kind of where the conversation went. But I just have to give a shout out to all these wonderful young people and these leaders that we have before us. Energized, engaged, committed, and thoughtful in their questions. It was truly an honor to talk to them today.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, so we're gonna split up our nuggets. So at our table, we talked about how your career change and your career transition is as seamless as the story that you tell about yourself, right? And so everything that you're doing outside of work is fair game to talk about when you're interviewing for your next career change. So really focusing on some of those transferable skills and having that applied to that next job and that next opportunity.
Absolutely. And then we also talked about the intersection of technology and innovation, being intentional in the type of companies you are applying to and really understanding what their intentions are, having a full background knowledge on what they're doing for not only themselves, but the communities they're serving. And it was just awesome hearing that everyone loves Lyft.
All right, so just quick interlude. On behalf of myself and the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, I have to step away. For those of you who are interested in health equity, please join us in room 145A after this fantastic session. I am the opening speaker for that session, so my apologies, I have to run, but my wonderful partner, Bianca, will continue to facilitate the closeout. Thank you.
And I just have 2 nuggets from our table. The first one was talking about the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. A mentor is someone who gives you advice. A sponsor is someone who acts on your behalf. So a mentor may call you to tell you advice about your current position. A sponsor will call you and tell you about a job that's available and if you want your resume to be sent to the hiring person. So you want to have both of those. The second thing was to be comfortable in uncomfortable spaces. When you are young, when you are the only one who looks like you in a room, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's okay. So don't be afraid or don't be scared to be getting comfortable in very uncomfortable situations. The more that it happens, the better that that will be for you.
Our takeaway was globalize, globalize, globalize. I don't care if you do hair or if you are in charge of mergers and acquisitions, there's a way to globalize your experience. A quick example, Raquel is interested in how youth transition from foster care into adult life. Child soldiers have similar issues. So if you can secure a fellowship or somebody to pay you to do research on child soldiers in the Congo and take that knowledge back to folks who you work with in Miami, you stand apart from everybody else. So there's no reason why anybody can't get a quick passport, get on a plane, and get out of your comfort zone. The second thing is actually a resource which I didn't share with everybody. Is ProFellow, PROFELLO. This is a database of domestic and international fellowships where if you're interested in anything from public health to engineering to tech, foreign policy, child, whatever, they put out a weekly newsletter where you can learn about short-term and long-term fellowships that suit your need or match your interest. So I have information about foreign policy, becoming a diplomat, still at the table if anybody is interested.
Really quick, I just want to make sure everybody remembers that all the advisors that just spoke at one point were you sitting in this room. So for every question that you asked, for every concern that you had, for all the ideas that you brought, can you give it up for yourselves? We always have the Emerging Leaders Luncheon, and I've been doing this for like 8 years, but it's always necessary for us to remember that we need to convene as young people and then go back to the larger conference and cause just as much hell and ask just as many questions and raise just as many talking points to our people so that we can continue to have intergenerational conversations. So thank y'all for everybody who came to my table. 2 quick things. One is folks asked me what was the most important thing that I brought to the work that I did, and I said it was training other people to know what I know and then run with it and expound on it. My value at the NAACP is not my name. It's not that I come from Los Angeles, even though that's a huge value to the NAACP, but it is also that I'm able to train the staff that I work with, the youth that I work with, the leaders that I get to talk to every day, how to do things like this, put on programs, run campaigns, and train each other so that we can continue to grow as a movement. That's the first thing. Make sure you're training other people how to do what you do. Don't just do what you do on your own. The second nugget is this. We had a very interesting conversation about intergenerational organizing that continued to the next table also. The tidbit that I'll give to y'all is in the work that I do, which is for a very large, 110-year-old civil rights organization that is known typically as a Christian male-dominated organization. Our average membership is 60. We have a large 64-person board of directors, but the Youth and College Division is live and thriving, is that there's a difference between elders and old people. Elders remember what it was like to be young, and they make space for young people. Old people feel threatened because you're young. So remember that you have to work with the coalition of the willing, and that in any work that you do, intergenerational organizing is necessary for us to be successful. It is not a competition. They have skills, we got skills, y'all got skills, they used to have skills, we gonna get skills. It goes around the circle, but that it is necessary for us to come to the table and actively listen to each other and not just ignore each other because of our age difference.
Awesome. I couldn't have closed that out better than what we just heard. So thank you for reminding us of all of that. Celeste and I are up here on behalf of our company Lyft, who served as the main sponsor for this event. And so we just honestly really want to thank you all so much for taking the time and energy out of your schedules to come out here and receive this information, come speak with all the leaders that were in the room. And as it was stated earlier, we all were in your same position not too long ago. So we all can get here together. It's super important to remember to look back and help out the next person who is up and coming. So take what you got from this event and make sure you bring that back to your communities, your peers, and make sure y'all are uplifting each other so that we all basically eat.
And really quickly, I just want to point out that all of the advisors that are here, they're here willingly, right? And so if they've shared their information with you, if they said that they want to connect with you, if they've given out business cards, their LinkedIns, their emails, please use them, right? These are folks that are willingly wanting to be your mentor and your sponsor possibly, right? So make sure that you're leveraging all of the folks in the room, leveraging all of the panels and the conversations in the exhibit hall. I don't know if you guys have seen the exhibit hall yet, but all of the companies that are here have tables and they have representatives there waiting to speak to you, to engage with you, to talk to you about opportunities, to answer your questions. This is the best place for you to be right now, so please, I am encouraging you to take advantage of the next couple of days and really engage with people who are looking to engage with you. We could not have had a better luncheon. All of the conversations were amazing. I know at our table we talked about everything from being a Black woman in tech to PTSD to the real reason why we come to tech, which is to get free food. Like, we talked about everything. And so I can only imagine what the conversations were like at these other tables. Thank you again so much. I hope you guys have a very blessed rest of your week and enjoy the rest of the conference.